Good afternoon. Happy Friday. This is Sean LaBelle of the Dekker Hewett Group. It was a decidedly negative week here as global indices took a leg lower, most definitely on Friday on the back of hotter than expected U.S. inflation data. Inflation came in at 8.6% for the month of May. That was higher than the 8.3% that we had been expecting. When looking to core CPI, it came in at 1% month over month. That was also higher than the 60 basis points that we have been looking for. This week's Market Watch Weekly just runs through the inflation data a little bit more specifically, looking at what sectors we're seeing higher than expected cost increases. There's also a conversation in there around the U.S. labor market and also the Canadian labor market to a certain degree, which continues to be the bright spot right now in terms of the North American economy. Yes, inflation is definitely running harder than expected, but the labor market is very resilient. We're seeing a lot better than expected employment data continuing to stream out. We had jobs number in the U.S. that was better than expected on Monday. Canadian employment figures came in better than expected this morning. So that remains a really strong bright spot for the economy. There's a great table in there at the end of this week's piece that just illustrates historical recessions and where the labor market was. Generally, you don't get recessions with unemployment rates south of 4%. Right now, the U.S. labor market is around 3.6% in terms of the unemployment rate. And we talked about that a little bit last week. There's also more people coming into the labor market right now as a result of these inflationary pressures. So there's a good degree of slack in there. And this remains our reason why we don't expect any sort of recessionary concern here on the horizon. The employment market rather, is just too strong. And again, the U.S. consumer makes up around 70% of their GDP. It's a little bit less in Canada. But again, just looking at the employment figures, consumers remain strong. The balance sheets are better than they've ever been, so consumers can fall back on savings to offset a little bit of these inflationary pressures, which hopefully sooner or later these things start to roll over. Again, we've talked about it before. There was some indication that figures were starting to roll over a little bit, but they haven't quite done so just yet. So we'll obviously be talking about that quite a bit more here in future wires as more data comes out. We'll end it there. Hope everyone enjoys the weekend, and we will talk to you again next week. Cheers.